is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Driving with Randy. I am your host, Road Rage Randy, and this is Driving with Randy, the podcast where I drive around, get angry with people because people don't know how to drive. All right, we let all that anger out. Today we are going to talk about what you all can expect from Driving with Randy here in 2020. It's a big year. We got big plans. We're going to take charge, and the podcast is going to blow up. Oh, Jesus. We're going to start off here with equipment. What can we expect from equipment? I have plans to upgrade the equipment. I plan on upgrading to a Tascam DR05X, which will work as it'll work as the recorder. So right now I'm using my iPhone and an iPhone mic. We plan on completely overhauling that and using the DR05. Now the DR05X has one input, so we're gonna buy a, what's it called, a Hobus, something like that. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's like a Hobus splitter. So it essentially splits your right and your left channels. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, a mic like my iPhone mic has the ability to record my voice, obviously. And what it does is it mixes left and right together and plugs in. So what this adapter does is then it splits left and right, and it records on one stereo track. But what you can do is you can split the stereo track, and then you have a left output and a right output, and you can edit. That's not the point. The point is it splits so that there'll be two mics. So I'm gonna get two lavalier mics. Or a lapel mic, whatever you want to call it. One's gonna be to me, and one's gonna be to my co-pilot. When we have co-pilots, I know we haven't had too many co-pilots, in 2019, but that was just the start of the podcast. It's gonna be 2020 here, so the co-pilots. That's right, we're going to get more co-pilots on. We're going to get a whole bunch of guests. I want to try and get at least one guest on a month for the year. So 12 guests, whole year. They can be different. They can be same. I know the podcast I did with my girlfriend really took off. I mean, holy Christ, that's got... It's my 5th most downloaded episode, and it's been out like a 10th of the time any of the other ones have. So I'm glad to hear that. I really am. I'm glad to hear that it's been doing well, and I feel like I don't get too many guest interactions. So that's a big goal here for 2020. What do we have here? We have an ambulance at the townhomes. I would investigate, but I have to get to work, and I don't know. I don't really feel like investigating right now. Why are these guys got their fishing boats? As if it's not ice fishing season. What are you doing? There's 2 of them. 2 of them have fishing boats. It's 36 degrees, so I guess it's above freezing, but you understand what I'm trying to say. Where the fuck's my wallet? I 100% brought my wallet. There it is. All right, we're going to grab some food here real quick, and then I will be right back to speak to y'all beautiful souls. Ladies and gentlemen, I think I just did the weirdest fucking thing I've ever done. Today, where the fuck are my car keys? They better be in this pocket. Yeah, I found it. Okay, so I was kind of in the mood for some chicken. So I went ahead, went on over to the deli, which is getting remodeled, by the way. So they said they had limited stuff, but they just had a whole freaking chicken there. An original hot rotisserie chicken. So, me being me, I wanted a freaking chicken. I wasn't gonna buy chicken wings, so I grabbed a fork, and guess what? We got ourselves here a nice rotisserie chicken. We ripped that open. I don't even know what to expect here. When we pop the lid off, we just have a whole freaking chicken here. This is like gonna be delicious, and I'm gonna speak to you guys. Oh, the drumstick. There's 2 drumsticks. Oh, baby. This has to be one of the best decisions I've ever made. And it was fairly cheap, too. So I just ripped one of the drumsticks off, and all the meat fell off, which is pretty good. Oh, let's try this. That's a... We got bone there. I probably should have grabbed some napkins. This was a good purchase. And it has some stringy little fat. Oh, and I have half the meat sitting in my my cup holder here. Alright, I got some napkins. I have 1 napkin. That's it. We're gonna have to struggle eating this rotisserie chicken with 1 napkin. See, this drumstick just fell off too. That's some dang good chicken. I know what you guys are thinking. Road Rage Randy, we came here to discuss what to expect in the upcoming year. And what do I give you? I give you me eating a rotisserie chicken in the Cub Foods parking lot before I have to go to work. So, I guess what you can expect... I think what you can expect from the upcoming year is... You never know what to expect with me, okay? We got a whole bunch of plans. I'm going to upgrade. I kind of forget what I was talking about as far as like, I transitioned very smoothly into it, and now I'm just butchering it. What did I transition to? Guests. We were going to have guests on. That's an easy one. I mean, people want to come on my podcast. It's a fun time. But there was something else I was going on and on and on and on and on and on about. Oh. So you can go to Cub and get a rotisserie chicken for like, $7. It was $7 for this chicken. That's not a bad deal in my opinion. What the hell? I don't know what this is. I guess I've never had a rotisserie chicken, so like, this is not a chicken piece. That is like, I don't even know what that is. I want more skin. The skin's delicious. I know, you guys are just sitting here. I'm gonna come back, actually, after I'm done eating here, and we'll talk. Yum. Yum, 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 yum. Alright, so I just ate an entire freaking rotisserie chicken. I must say, that was probably one of the better choices I've made as far as purchases. I mean, it was like, it's gonna keep me full. and it was like $7. That's a pretty good deal. I mean, you go to any fast food place, you're looking at $7 for a rotisserie, or for your meal. Whereas I just had an entire freaking rotisserie chicken. Yes! Anyways, we're getting back to the topic here. I kind of want to dispose of my container, but that's alright. Actually, this light is long enough. I could probably hop out of my car and go dispose of my container. Anywho, let's speak about the podcast and the future of it. So we got upgrades, we got guests, promotion. I want to promote. I figured out what I was going to speak about earlier. You see how that works? Sometimes it just takes a little bit of talking and things come to you. And you know what? I kind of want to talk about that as well. So let's first start off with what I was going to speak of earlier, which just seems to have left my freaking mind again. I mean, I don't know. All right. Guest interaction, or passenger interaction. So you know how I refer to you guys as my passengers, my listeners, my viewers. You guys are my passengers because you technically are riding along with me, right? You're driving with Randy. Yes. And then co-pilots are simply put passengers that get to sit up front. Except we did have a passenger one time that sat in the back, our Halloween episode, but that's all right. It's not the point here. The point is, I need the passengers to interact. I want to develop this year the most interaction that I can possibly get, because I want to make this podcast for you guys. Which is getting away. Oh, Jesus, this book I've been reading just has me all messed up. So I read this book. It's called The War of Art. And, you know what, I need to just do a whole different should I do I can combine What to Expect plus The War of Art book review. So, The War of Art, it's a book that gets brought up by Joe Rogan on his podcast all the time. And he gives that book away to comedians, to people who seem to be stuck in what they need to be doing. And they're held back by what the book refers to as resistance. Resistance is the force that keeps you or prevents you from doing things. You know what you need to do, but resistance is holding you back, and the resistance is what you need to overcome. The rotisserie chicken has given me the hiccups. Maybe the chicken had the hiccups before it died, and I just ate it, and now I have the hiccups. Something like that. So what I'm getting at here is the year 2020. I just said that I want to make the podcast for you guys. And there's a chapter in that book that says no. There's going to be people out there that he called them hacks. The hacks can make millions, right? So the hacks are capable of making millions, but they're not going to be fulfilling themselves. He referred to, there's two types of people. People who do things, who look at life hierarchical, like in a hierarchy. So, there's people below you and there's people above you. But those people can't look to something else. They're only going to be looking at the people above them to see what they can do to do better, which is fine. I think it's perfectly fine to go off that. But you also need to find it in yourself. And those guys are the territorial people. He referred it to as like a territory. he said something along the lines of like, the hierarchy look up and down, but they can't look for the one thing they need, and that's within. So, and then he referred to the hacks, how hacks can go out, make $1 million, but they're not putting the art out for themselves. And when I started this podcast, it was very much so I'm doing it for myself. I'd like to please my audience, I'd like to please my passengers, but I also need to do what's right for me. So that's why when I say send me things, guest interaction, I want to please you guys. I want to use it as inspiration, if you will. You know, I'd like to hear from you guys. He mentioned something about how the first book, one of the first books he ever wrote, he spent a long time on that book. And it wasn't until like 9 years later, and by he, I mean the author, Steven Pressfield, which has also been on Joe Rogan. His first book didn't get taken up until like 9 years later. Nobody wanted it. But you know what? He wrote it for himself. And I really think the book was very good. I feel like there's a lot of abstract ideas in the book as far as like, you kind of have to think. And I will say I kind of read through it a little quickly. I think a goal of mine is going to have to be, I want to go back and read that book, but I'd like to read it a little bit later and take notes. So, one second, folks. I had a hangnail. The hangnail was bothering me. Anyways, folks, the book was very good. I want to go back and I want to read it, and I want to read it and take notes. I feel like it was very inspirational. There was a lot in it that I agreed with. There were some things I kind of thought, but if I go back, read it a little slower, and actually process some of the things, the way he has it written is chapters are like 2 pages long. It's more so, it's not really a chapter. So it's split into 3 books, and then each book has headers, if you will. Headers or titles, and then he writes a page or a page and a half about it. And I think that's written very well because it gives us readers a chance to, perhaps maybe we want to read a page a day, take notes on it, really think about it, and then maybe incorporate it into our life. Whereas how I kind of read it was, I read it in 3 days. I read book 1, then I read book 2, and then I read book 3. It's all one book, but it's little subsections. He has the subsections labeled as books. But overall, I really liked the book, and I want to incorporate some of that into my podcast. And one of the things it said was, sometimes you gotta just go do it, man. You might not put out the best podcast in the world. I might not put out the best podcast in the world. But that's what 2020 is about. I'm just about, and I guess I've been about that. I've only missed 2 episodes since I started this podcast. I've missed 2 episodes. While I feel like some of the episodes were certainly half-assed, I also feel like I stuck to it. I've stuck with it, and I keep telling myself, all it takes is that one episode that people absolutely love, and then they're gonna find the love in the other episodes. I know it, because this podcasting project started out as just an idea I thought of at work. I talked to myself to and from work. Why don't I make some use out of it? Why don't I record it? Why don't I put it on the internet? All my personal thoughts, I can tell stories to the internet. And look what it's come to. It's come to, we're almost 100 episodes deep, which is another thing to expect in the year 2020. Episode 100 is going to be huge. It's going to be very good. I think you guys are really gonna like it. We're by the train here, and we just heard it. Train. That's also another. One of my coworkers asked me yesterday if I ever picked up hitchhikers. You know, I'd actually really like to pick up a hitchhiker and get him on the podcast. Give him $20 and say you're a guest on my podcast. Tell me about your travel stories. Let's hear it. What brings you to the St. Paul area? Because I know you're not. You know, if you're coming off a train, you're coming from probably Chicago. You know, Chicago, I mean, it goes south. It kind of branches off there, but, you know, it could be Rochester, Minnesota, somewhere southish. Then I know there's a truck right next to me, and the background noise is probably annoying, but that's what this podcast is about. It's a genuine, it's just me driving down the road, thinking my thoughts out loud, essentially. But as far as 2020 goes, I'm really looking at, you know, guys, I had the goals in 2019. I wanted 1,000 listens by the end of my first year of podcasting. I'm not at the end of my first year of podcasting yet, and I'm almost double that. We're going to be about 2.5 over our goal. Now, the goal for 2020 here is, for starters, I'd like, for starters, I'd like 10,000 listens, downloads by the end of the year. It doesn't seem like much, but it'd be a lot to me. And that would be 2.5 times our, is that two? No, 3 times. Wait, 10,000. No, that's 3 times. Yes, I need to get 3 times the amount of listens this year as I did this year, which is great. Yeah, I think that's a good goal. I have, you know, as far as advertisement goes, I found a method that I like. I post to weekly forums every week. I have business cards now, and the business cards are going to be popping. I want to get those out. I have quite a bit made, and come my trip down to Atlanta, I'm going to be tossing those bad boys out everywhere. I need to start leaving behind places. Every time I go out to eat, guess what? Business card, kapow, bang, boom. And all I have to, I'm telling you guys, all I got to do is hit that one person, that one waitress that maybe has a podcast, and maybe we hit up a waiter, maybe we hit up a waitress that has a podcast. They come to me and they say, I love the idea, let me get on. And I take a random waitress, waiter, whatever, maybe I leave it, or obviously if it's someone down in Atlanta, I can't get them on the podcast, but, well, I can phone them in. But up here in Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa area, South Dakota, if I go there, anywhere I go, if whoever's serving me ends up with one of these business cards and maybe has a big YouTube channel, and they're like, this guy left his card, guess what? It gets mentioned, kapow, bang, people are checking it out. That's what we're about. Progress. And you're looking at my graph as far as the year so far goes, it's been pretty uphill. Obviously, I've had my slumps, but for the most part, in the long run, the views are going upward, which is great. That's where you want to go. You want your podcast to develop and move forward. So I'm very happy as far as that goes, and I can't wait to see what the year has in store for me. You know, guests, fan interaction. Let's say, so I ended the year, and by year I mean the calendar year, not the podcasting year. Podcasting year ends and starts in April. But as far as the calendar year goes, so for 2020, I'd like to get, I was averaging about 1 review a month. I'd really like to get that number up to about two or three reviews a month. Does that mean positive reviews? No. It just means reviews. The way I look at it, a bad review is just opportunity to grow. You know, if someone gives me 1 star, it actually writes genuine complaints. Like, you know, maybe he didn't like my rambling. Maybe I rambled too much. Maybe it's a listener that started from episode 1 and now we're on episode, 90-ish. Oh, 80-ish, I should say. Maybe his love for the podcast kind of fell off and he explains why and it's genuine. Okay, we can grow from that. Now, I do recognize the podcast isn't going to be for everybody. Not everybody's going to like a low-quality podcast from a high-quality man like myself. Hey, how you guys doing? I'm Road Rage Randy. High quality. But no, you guys get it. This is kind of a small little... how many people go searching for... Hey, let's search for a guy while he drives down the road. No, people don't do that. Although I did search for it the other day on podcasting app, and I found about 3 people who are attempting the same thing, but they also don't have episodes frequently rolling out. Like, they gave up. I'm not a quitter, baby. We're getting that 10,000 end of the year. We're getting... upwards of 20 more reviews on the podcast. That's what I would like. I would absolutely love like 20 on the podcast. So, I mean, the viewers that have been here, I thank you guys very much. We're gonna pack up here shortly. I feel like I've rambled on enough. And that chicken really hit the spot. Like, it's keeping me nice and full. I do need to do a health update as well. Outside the podcasting world, as far as what I'm doing, I'm eating healthy, been having lots of vegetables, lots of fruits. I've been waking up every day feeling spectacular. I've been stretching every day. I'm really trying to get my neck taken care of. While I feel like the radiculopathy, I don't know if I ever talked about that on the podcast. I was having radiculopathy, which means I was having tingling and pain shooting down my arm. Since the stretching, since the healthy diet, it's actually been feeling pretty well. I haven't noticed it too much. I want to say occasionally it'll happen, but that just has to do with my nerve being pinched. And, the inflammation's definitely low right now, so the inflammation isn't necessarily causing it. It's more so it's pinched, and that's why the stretching every day. I'm trying to relieve it, and I have goals, and I think a month or 2 out, if I keep up this diet, if I keep up this daily stretching, I am going to be feeling at 100%. I really do. And by come halfway through the year, I think if I'm keeping this up, if I'm stretching, if I'm eating healthy, and I'm still not solved, I think that's when I go to the doctor, because I feel like I've done all I can at that point. A big thing is you want to make sure, like I have a neck pain, I have a pinched nerve, I need to make sure that I have full range of motion in that body part before I go into surgery, because if surgery were a thing that had to happen, you want to make sure that you've done all that you can before that begins. But before you proceed on to getting cut into and having a very invasive thing like a disc replacement. That is extremely invasive. So, that's just my mindset. I've been doing well though, and I hope it stays that way. Big things coming from the podcast in 2020. So I hope you guys stay aboard with me. You know, the passenger seat is always open for you guys. You know what? I'm going to start ending podcasts like that because I really like that. The passenger seat is always open for you guys. Go out and tell someone, go compliment someone today, okay? Do something special for someone. Make someone smile. I want that to be your goal by the end of the day. Send a message to someone. Get a smile out of them. Tell them, you know, make sure it's genuine too. Just go do something special. Make someone smile. I'll stop repeating myself. Do that quite a bit. Thank you guys very much for tuning into this episode. I hope you guys have a fantastic day, and we'll see you when you ride passenger next time. So thank you guys very much. Oh wait, no, I forgot to plug my Twitter. Yeah, go on my Twitter at Thoughts by Randy. Go on my Reddit r/driving with Randy, and head on over to if you have an Anchor account, send me a voice message. We'll get you live on air. That's all I got. Go do an iTunes review for me. Tell me what you think. Thank you guys. Or Stitcher. I read those too, but we haven't gone on. All right. Thank you guys very much. Peace.